Hello and welcome to a slightly different episode of a weekly Waypoint because this one's a time lapse. This is a free quote-unquote game called Colouring Pixels, which I just had to check because it's a fairly generic name, and it's free. It's got like DLC packs and all that kind of stuff, like 79p each, but I doubt I'll really need them. This is like this weird, very kind of therapeutic, very basic kind of a game where it's perfect to just put on music or a podcast and you're basically just colouring by numbers. When I downloaded it I thought it was one of those puzzle games where like more Picross kind of a style of thing, but it's not, and I did the first few thinking like they were super basic things. I was like, what is the point of this? I don't care about this. Coral also doesn't care about this, as she just demonstrated, but except she doesn't care about the recording of this episode because she just barged into it by flapping her. Anyway, as I was saying, the first few are really simple. I was like, why am I even doing this? But as you get to the more complex ones, like this Octopus one, which is the most... Oh, I spoiled what it was! I was going to leave it a surprise until the very end. Oh well, you probably saw it in the thumbnail. It's fun to watch it come together anyway. But yeah, as I got to the more complex ones, I realised it's weirdly... therapeutic. It's a bit like building Lego or something, where it's not too complicated, it's just a thing to occupy your brain, and yeah, you just kind of go. And I spent about an hour straight playing it last night, and yeah, this is kind of a state of my mind right now. You can kind of hear the sped up piano music, which is normally a lot more relaxing. Normally I turn that off and put my own music on, but this is a video so I didn't, but I feel like I should leave in the sped up piano in the background. It's kind of more appropriate in a weird way. Anyway, this week Ubisoft had their Ubisoft Forward event where they showed more about Watch Dogs Legion and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and a bunch of other stuff that nobody really cares about. I'm just kidding, of course people care about it, but I don't, except for the Far Cry 6 cinematic trailer, which was absolutely fucking gripping. I've never played a Far Cry game before and I probably don't care about playing Far Cry 6 either, but that cinematic trailer was, oof, that was very good. But either way, after they were done thoroughly negating to mention anything to do with the horrible things that have been coming out of that company lately, they moved on to Watch Dogs Legion, which is... I'm still on the fence about it. It's a really cool concept, but it's the kind of thing where they're like, wow, you can recruit anyone and everyone's different, but we know how game design works and we know that's not going to be the case. There's going to be like invisible classes or something, and the question is how limiting that feels and whether they can really blow us away by making us feel like, oh, actually everyone really is different. If that is the case, I'll be super interested. I just got Watch Dogs 2 through PS Now. I've played about an hour of it. I can't really say if it's my jam just yet. It's interesting, but I'm going to have to play more of it to find out whether I really care about that franchise, because I never played any Watch Dogs games before. You can get Watch Dogs 2 for free on PC. I think it's still available as of the time of recording if you search for, you know, Watch Dogs 2 Ubisoft free, because basically they were like, hey, you can get it as a Twitch drop by watching Ubisoft Forward, and the Twitch drops weren't linking because the servers weren't working because everyone was trying to do it at once, so they're like, oh, we'll just fucking give it to you later, who cares. Another game I have mixed feelings on is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, because it looks really good, but Assassin's Creed Odyssey, as full of RPG systems as it was, still had some pretty in-depth stealth you could do. Like, yeah, you can instantly assassinate enemies unless you had certain perks anymore, which, you know, kind of takes away from a lot of a classic Assassin's Creed formula, but it's still there. And like, some of my favourite parts of Odyssey have been storming forts and fortresses and killing everyone in the fortress without alerting anyone, basically. It's like, it's really good for like stealth gameplay. I don't know why people think that doesn't exist in Odyssey, because it does. But the things that are coming out about Valhalla right now are slightly concerning, because it feels like there's even less of that, which is weird, because they're like, oh look, we brought back blending in with crowds and all this kind of stuff. It's like, oh cool. But then, for instance, PC Gamer put out a preview where they were like, they had 2 assassinations in 3 hours of gameplay, and from what I've personally seen of a preview gameplay myself, it looks even more focused on the action RPG side of things. And while that stuff looks good and interesting and impressive, it's also maybe not as good as a game which is entirely supposed to be dedicated to action RPG, like something like The Witcher. As far as general story and environment and narrative goes, I'm really excited for this. It looks really good. I still can't decide whether I'm going to be playing as the male or female character. I played as Cassandra in Odyssey, but Ivor can be male or female in this one, and you can change it whenever you like, so I guess I'll probably mess around with that. But I'm leaning more towards male Ivor at this point. It honestly just depends on who has the better personality and the better voice actor, in my opinion. I am really excited to go to this era in England's history and be a Viking and all this stuff, but it's extremely like saturated and high contrast, which nobody's really complaining about because I guess that fits in with the themes of this era of history. But it does remind me of The Witcher as well, and it's just kind of made me realise I think I do prefer the world of Odyssey to what we've seen of Valhalla so far. And that's not to say I don't think Valhalla doesn't look amazing and fun, and I'll probably pick it up at some point and try it and enjoy it, but I'm not sure if I'll prefer it over Odyssey based on what I've seen. And speaking of which, I'm 90 hours into Odyssey and I've just started the Fate of Atlantis DLC, and it's blown me away where that DLC has gone. Literally gone. Like, holy fucking shit. I need to pick that up again because I haven't played it in a couple of days, but I've done like the first fort of that DLC basically, and it's tough. It's really tough. The enemies are more powerful, and it's such a big fort I had to keep jumping off the edge of the cliff it's on so I could save, so I could quick save, because I kept getting really frustrated when I would get killed towards the end of a fort and I would have half an hour of gameplay to backtrack and do all over again, so that wasn't entirely fun. But I know you can power up through that DLC in new ways as well, so I assume the difficulty will plateau again. So yeah, my Assassin's Creed series kick is still going strong. I'm still writing blog posts about getting trophies in that series. I picked up Black Flag for under £5 in the sale this week, which I really shouldn't have done because I had to buy a new controller this month. Okay, I'm not doing great on spending, which is slightly annoying when every fucking game I've ever been interested in is going on sale for a great price, but I will show restraint, damn it. But yeah, that's about that. I've also been playing a lot of Gran Turismo Sport. For a second there I thought I was going to go for the Platinum Trophy, but I've since looked up how all of what I've done, which is a lot of shit, and all that I've got left to do. I'm probably not going for the Platinum Trophy, let's be honest here. I'm halfway, or no, I'm 3/4 of the way through their kind of campaign, their original campaign before they patched in the classic style one. And the next event is an hour-long endurance race, so probably just gonna save that one for a rainy day, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm a little all over the place when it comes to what I want to play. I really want to resub to World of Warcraft, but I know there's no point doing that till a pre-patch happens. But I still really want to. But I've noticed that the more I kind of harbour that desire to resub to WoW, the longer I end up playing it for when I eventually do resub. So if I resub the second I want to, I usually just play for a month and quit again. Whereas if I hold on to, sorry, I just saw the screen. That looked really fucky in fast motion. Whereas if I hold on to that want for a lot longer, then I end up enjoying the game for longer. I don't know, it's just something I've noticed. Either way, thank you for watching this a little weird episode of the Weekly Waypoint. Let me know if you enjoyed this style. It wasn't meant to be a half-hour recording, but that's kind of what it turned into, so I guess time-lapse is what happened. Look at him, little octopus.